So, some bad news, unfortunately. Um, what would be more devastating for all of you than learning that I am, in fact, a liberal? After everything I've done, after everything I've said, if you learned that I was a liberal, I know. I know it'd be rough. My camera's like turning on its own. I've got to lock that in place better. I know that that would be terrifying for many of you. But unfortunately, I have been ousted. It's happened, folks. Um, anyone know Jason Unruh? He's sort of like a Maoist, third worldist. I don't like Jason very much. I consider him a poor representative of socialism. But he's got the scoop. You can tell the kind of aesthetic he goes for.
Lib. Oh, God, fuck you guys. Guys,
Who's that?
just so you know, hey, speaking of reading theory, just so you fucking know, just so you realize, when Marx and following theorists wrote on capitalism, they were not writing, capitalism and liberalism are worst things to ever happen to humanity. They are greatest oppressor of workers. No. Marxism is supposed to be an extension of liberalism, not a rejection of it, a true promotion of unity, fraternity, and freedom, and liberty and shit. That's what Marxism and that's what leftism is about. It's about bringing the messaging of the liberal movement forward to make it better, to make it stronger, to make it true to its principles. And this
That's the segment. Some people can I fairly call them tankies? Everybody who I've seen mad about this looks like a tanky to me. Anyway, so I want to address this super quickly. First of all, the main problem with that clip that you just saw is that it was so true that the world wasn't ready for it. Seriously though, the phrasing there was a little bit awkward. I should have said enlightenment values rather than liberalism. But the essential argument is this, writers like Marx and, Bakunin and all the early, Kropotkin, early leftist writers were, to a great extent, inspired by values which were brought into prominence during the Enlightenment. They just felt that liberalism was a dog shit way of achieving those values. Uh-oh. We having lag issues? Oh, no. He'll come back. They just felt that liberalism was a bad way of achieving those values. Like, so for example, okay? Democracy. Okay? Democracy. Great idea. Good idea. All right? I'd say people should be able to have some say in the mechanisms of the society they live within. Fine and dandy. The issue is you have systems that are meant to represent these values, like liberal democracy or capitalism, which compared to previous forms of economic, organization was relatively free. After all, laissez-faire capitalism, anyone can make a business, hypothetically, in a capitalist society, whereas previously in a mercantilist society, or if you go even further back than that, you have to go through this, it's all tied, to the legitimacy of the monarchy, and you can't just up and start a business. In let's say, 13th century Italy, you can be a wealthy individual, and you can be a wealthy merchant, but ultimately, your wealth and your prominence are in some way going to be tied to the aristocracy. The economic success you experience is downwind, in many cases, of your ability to work with the existing political elite. Nowadays, hypothetically, if you want to, you can make a business and just fucking, you could do whatever the fuck you want. You could do whatever. Now, of course, obviously, in modern day capitalism, it works best if you lobby and buy off politicians and influence policy making and lower marginal tax rates and make sure capital gains tax is much lower than standard income tax to bolster your productive capacity. Obviously, that works better, but in theory, you can do this shit on your own. But just because these systems are hypothetically more free than the ones that came prior doesn't mean they're a good way of, achieving Enlightenment values. The Enlightenment was all about giving prominence to these. Oh my God, again with the lag? Uh-oh. I have no idea what the lag would be from because I'm not dropping any frames right now. Well, whatever the case may be, the point is that the Enlightenment values that we care about as leftists, stuff like equality of opportunity, of democracy, of freedom, of free information, the fundamental belief that people deserve something in their life outside the appraisal of an authority figure. These are Enlightenment values. Liberalism has failed to achieve these values. It has failed. Now, it's better than monarchism, but it is certainly not as good as it could be. And that ultimately is what people like Marx set out to do. How do we design political and economic systems that are better at achieving those values? And this is what I meant fundamentally in that clip. Not that Marx was a liberal or any dumb shit like that, but I'm echoing the sentiment of people like, well, I suppose the types of people who would call me a liberal would also call Chomsky a liberal, but you have him, you have Richard Wolff, and you have the values espoused by Marx initially, and Marx was very, very concerned with freedom as a concept. That's one of the greatest sins of capitalism. Capitalism purports to grant everyone who lives within it great freedom. And on the books, it does. On the books, capitalism is a really fucking free system. Free association, baby. You want to make a business? Great. You don't want to work with that dipshit? Fuck him. You don't have a legal obligation to work for this person. Go. Do another thing. But in practice, your ability to navigate a capitalist system free depends on how much money you have. Everything costs something. If you have a lot of money, then we truly do live in the freest time in human history. And the values of the Enlightenment may well to a large extent be fulfilled for you, but to the average person who can't afford to take time off from work to look for a new job, who can't afford to access the resources necessary to develop a trade skill, to the average person who's born in a city that costs great, wealth to move out of, these promises are yet unfulfilled. And that is what these leftist thinkers are interested in addressing. Now, there are other Enlightenment values that are not as well regarded by leftists. The concept of hyper-individualism being a pretty big one. I like individualism in a cultural sense. I like the idea of valuing the individual. I don't like the idea of people being subject to a higher authority by birthright. You're born, thus you must serve the state. You're born, thus you must serve the king. That sort of thing. I hate that. But hyper-individualism isn't just keeping people free. Hyper-individualism is ennemi. It's atomizing people. It's extracting them from the culture and the society in which they live and placing them entirely on their own without any sort of external validating or socially cohesive system to work within. Don't anarchists place a large emphasis on individual rights? Everyone should, theoretically. What on earth is that flag? Why is it doing that? What is that tag even? It's the rain mod? Don't make me ban you guys. Don't make me do it. I've got the gun loaded. So let's see. So I have now been exposed ruthlessly as a liberal. How does Unruh follow up on this?
This is what Vaush said. Think about really what he just said. As I said on Twitter, if at this point you don't think that Vaush is COINTELPRO, or at the very least being promoted by COINTELPRO, I'm sorry, you're not a Marxist. Okay, here's the problem. There is a difference between social liberality and liberalism. But Vaush is not talking about social liberality. He's talking about liberalism, which is capitalism. Now, combine that with what he has said in the past about Joe Biden, vote for Joe Biden or I'm going to kick your ass.
That is true. That is something I have done. I haven't just said vote for Joe Biden. I have personally threatened to come to each and every one of your houses and have you. I want to see pictures on your phone. I want to see phone pictures. Of you at the ballot booth, with the check on Joe Biden with a little dot written in. And if you don't, I will beat the shit out of you. This is something that I have threatened to do in my stream.
Think about that. If this isn't the very essence of liberalism, what is? Come on, this is COINTELPRO straight up. Intention.
I do appreciate the simplicity of the thinking at work here. So Unruh has been kind of something of like a tanky lol cow type for a while. I actually heard about Unruh before I became a leftist. This guy's been doing this for a while, and he's very much of the opinion that like there's no Western proletariat. It's you know, internationally, people who live in the West are the bourgeois. It's sort of a fucked up version of third worldism, which initially when I heard about it, it was through him, and I thought it can't possibly be that stupid. So I looked it up, and it's a little more complicated than that. I'm still not a fan of it, but I think he misrepresents the tendency. Whatever the case may be, yeah. And then I have to be a COINTELPRO agent. Tankies love doing this. To be fair, Nazis do as well. Whenever you're in a Nazi chat, hangout, Discord, whatever, and you start saying stuff openly advocating for violence, often you'll get accused of being, you're glowing in the dark. That's what they say when they're accusing you, jokingly or seriously, of being an FBI agent. And it's something the Tankies do as well. It's very funny how much the social patterns of these groups mirror one another.
Intentional or unintentional. Okay. Here's why what he said is actually wrong.
Okay, hit me
now,
up.
if we go back to the beginning, essentially, when the French Revolution happened, there were three camps: conservatism, liberalism, and leftism. Now, conservatism, despite being a little socially progressive, was essentially for keeping the monarchy. Liberalism was for creating a democratic bourgeois republic. Leftism was for abolishing that whole system together. Socialism, and the different interpretations of what socialism is, but
this is not. I would need to brush up again. I will admit I would need to brush up on my history again, but at this moment I'm extremely confident that this is a misrepresentative take on the French Revolution.
nonetheless, they were anti-capitalist. They were anti what it was both the conservatives and the liberals actually wanted. So not only does Vaush literally not know what liberalism is and where it comes from, at least its history, he is a liberal. There is no question at this point. This guy is outright reactionary.
Oh, reactionary, not just a liberal, huh? So let me see if I can follow his train of logic here. So first of all, the information that he's spewing right now in the French Revolution is pretty plainly inaccurate. But even if we were to take it as accurate, let's assume, okay, let's assume the validity of what he's saying. Great, cool. So I am a liberal because I said Marx sought to achieve liberal values, which I think any reasonably charitable person can understand what I'm getting at there. And the reason that makes me a liberal and a reactionary is because 200 years ago, there were liberals and leftists, and they disagreed with each other. And that's how we know that I don't know anything about liberalism. I notice a tendency. There are two tendencies that I notice from tankies. It's an interest in fake history and an interest in fake theory. They're very interested in both. Every time I get schooled on history or theory by these people, I look it up, and I end up coming out far more reassured in my position than I was prior to that point. Because they generally obfuscate their terrible arguments with the with the constant deference to texts and events they don't know much about.
It is done. I mean, he already outed himself as very.
Vaush calling any leftist he doesn't like a tanky. Really? On Jason Unruh? On Jason Unruh, you're going to say that I call people tankies too often. On this individual we're looking at right here, on Jason Unruh. Doesn't Jason Unruh defend North Korea? I'm pretty sure this guy is literally like, if you say tanky 3 times in a mirror, this guy like shows up. Yeah. This guy defends North Korea. This is the person who like, oh, Vaush will call anyone a tanky. Come on. He's like, it's like Michael Brooks' spirit got split in a deal with the devil, and like Brooks' internationalism went on to be good, and then you have the internationalism of Jason Unruh and his obsession with fake countries that aren't even the U.S. And it's not good, folks. It's not good. By the way, when I think of wait, show support to Danky Kang? Are they here? Really? Wait, hold on. Oh, son of a bitch. This is this crazy, like, stalker tanky who's made, like, 20 videos about me. These communities are really, really small. I wonder if it upsets any of the tankies online that it took me about a year to become larger than every single, like, hard tanky YouTuber on the platform. Because nobody likes their ideas and they're utterly irrelevant. Outside of people with like severe emotional issues and a desire to overcompensate for a feeling of powerlessness in their life, so they project their desire for authority onto societies they like the aesthetics of. I wonder if that bothers them at all. That they're like hard stuck plat. Never gonna hit Diamond 2.
Of questionable character when he defended that thing where you're sexually attracted to children. If you say the word, you get demonetized.
What?
And in his debate with Caleb Maupin, he proved that he literally couldn't string 2 words together for an argument either. But here's another question.
Wait,
where the hell is BreadTube?
What?
Why isn't BreadTube saying anything?
Because they know. Talk shit, get hit. Say something. Watch me come at you. Contra? We're good. Contra. We're on good terms now. One of these days. I could see it. Vaush. ContraPoints. I'm coming at you.
I mean, come on, this guy is supposed to be literally the opposite of Marxism and anarchism, while claiming to be a Marxist and anarchist.
Literally the opposite.
Between the two frequently. If you're not, like, where are they? Why aren't they saying something right now? I'm sorry, but this is complete and utter nonsense. If this isn't definitive proof that Vaush is a reactionary.
Wait, when did the reactionary claim come in? Wait. Okay. So he kind of made a case for the liberal thing. What about the reactionary thing? Isn't Jason Unruh like actually a reaction? Isn't he like a transphobe? I'm pretty sure Unruh is a transphobe. Yeah, he is. Yeah. Oh, hello, Anarcho Pack.
Okay. If you
this is the channel Anarcho Pack, not the person we're looking at right now.
do watch me, then you know so far I haven't said anything on the transgender issue. I've made 1 or 2 videos on incidences of, questions over the transgender issue, but never have actually taken a position on transgenderism. And obviously, I understand, given the position that I have within the YouTube community, I obviously do have to take a side. And I do have to say what it is that I really think.
You know it's going to be a good opinion when we lead in like this. Holy shit. 30 minutes of like hand-wringing, like, I didn't want to talk about this, the transgenderism question, but I'm gonna have to give an opinion sooner or later.
Since making this video...
This is anarcho? Yeah, well, hold on. Wait, I want to... Wait, where's the rest of the video from Caleb Moppet? I want from the horse's mouth.
Now I have managed to finish it. It's going to get you another $20 Steam gift card.
What?
So, here's how you enter the contest.
What? What? Okay. Well, we really... It's a little capitalist of you. Incentivizing people's labor through material rewards? Oh my god.
Make a video, you upload it to YouTube or Twitter, doesn't really matter. YouTube is probably better. And then send it to me on Twitter with the hashtag #KillJasonUnruh competition. Or
Okay, I don't know what's going on here. This seems like a tax tax loophole somehow. If he buys his own hit, he doesn't have to pay premiums on some insurance for the fiscal year. I have no fucking idea. Watching the Anarcho-Pack pity party is pretty stellar. When you call him out on his class privilege, he actually thinks his personal problems are the basis for class oppression. That's the postmodernist disease. Ooh! When lefties talk about postmodernism in reference to social issues, that is a guarantee that these people are like a Caleb Maupin type reactionary, you know? Or like possibly even a Nosbol. Yeah. Didn't Caleb Maupin literally comment underneath this video? I thought I saw that when I scrolled through earlier. Yeah! Marxism is widely understood to be a form of illiberalism. Vaush is not a Marxist, but a liberal, so he wouldn't get that. No wonder he hates actually existing socialism. Like China. Actually existing social... Like China and Russia, who pays my bills because I work for Russia Today and defend Putin. Dude, these comments are really gold. I think I know... Why are you talking about him on the stream? Isn't he basically irrelevant? You're just giving him a platform? Yeah, okay, first of all, fuck you. Suck my dick. Second of all, there is no risk of these people ever being relevant. It's not possible. Caleb Maupin is literally a state actor. Caleb Maupin has been paid by the Russian government to disseminate, like, literally fucking talking points for the state, and he's still worthless and nobody likes him, okay? Maupin, Unruh has been at this for like a decade, and nobody likes him. Okay, these people are poison. They're never going to get. They don't have the charisma or the social awareness to take advantage of attention the same way reactionaries do. Is that real? The Maupin Russia probe thing? It's not. It's not a conspiracy. Maupin is literally paid by Russia Today. He's a journalist for Russia Today, a propaganda outlet. Yeah, that's not. I'm not conspiracizing, you know, at all. Yeah. Well, whatever the case may be, Godspeed to all you. I'm not a fucking liberal. You can talk with me about it if you want. I know Caleb Maupin will never have a conversation with me again, but Unreal, I'll have you on sometime. I know you'd be down for it. To call me a liberal to my face. You can call me a pedophile to my face again. We can have that conversation too. We can talk about the transgenderism question. Yeah, the TQ, exactly. Um,